Hey, Birth Warrior. I hope you are doing well today. This isn't a podcast episode, it's a sweet thought that I wanted to share with you today. So, a colleague of mine in the birthing world shared an expression, and the expression is room for grace. And I've never heard that expression before. I've heard I'm giving myself grace. But room for grace is a little different. It's as though grace is a physical presence in your being, or grace gets to take up physical space in your being, which just really landed in a different way for me. So it had me thinking about grace, our relationship with grace, and what room for grace can look like in our lives. And our relationship with grace is often an interesting one. We are usually better at treating others with grace than we are at treating ourselves with grace. And this isn't intentional or even conscious in most cases. But what happens is kind of this train of thought. And again, it's often subconscious. So here it goes. If I get it right, then I won't have to be criticized by someone else. If I get it right, then I won't be abandoned or considered to be weak or less than or unworthy. If I criticize myself first, then I won't have to go through the pain of hearing someone else criticize me. And so the pressure we put on ourselves is either to get it right, usually the first time, or to criticize ourselves when we don't get it right. And both of these are kind of opposite to what having room for grace is. So for me, what having room for grace is if you think of your intention or your desire as the inhale, then grace is the exhale. It's the letting go. It's the rest. It's the understanding that things don't have to go exactly according to plans. And no matter what happens, you're going to be kind to yourself anyways. It's okay if you didn't take the path that you now think you should have taken. Grace is understanding that you did the best you could in that moment, with the resources that you had, with the state that you were in, with everything that was happening. You did the best you could. And in this moment, with all that's happening, with all that you're having to navigate, with all that you're having to hold, you're doing the best you can right now. Grace is loving yourself regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the outcome. Grace is being able to find compassion within yourself. It's being able to make your own being your safe haven. And in that letting go, in that exhale, grace is where spirit gets to enter and show us a new path, because we've released our grip on the path that we think needs to be the right one right now. And I have to admit that I don't often get this right. It's an ongoing practice for me. And so the gentle reminder for myself within the coming days is, how much room am I holding for grace? And to think of that in as literal a sense as possible, like how much room in my being am I holding for grace? As I set my intentions and nurture their fruition, do I also have room for grace? Do I have room for being at peace with the unknown and the unexpected? Do I have room for the acceptance that I'm doing the best I can? Do I have room for the release of the outcome? Do I have room for trust? And do I have room for loving myself regardless of the outcome? Just going to allow that to rest, to settle in my being. And so my invitation to you is exploring how much room you have for grace. How much room does it feel like there is in your being and within the circumstances that you're experiencing now? How much room is there for grace? And if there isn't enough, exploring how much room you can create. How much spaciousness can there be for grace? I'm going to share a quick exercise that will allow us to play with this for a little bit. It's very quick. Wherever you are right now, pause. So if you're washing dishes or taking a walk, whatever action is in progress, this is probably going to be 15 seconds. So just allow yourself to pause and take an inhale. And then exhale without expectation. Another inhale. Exhale with abandon. Another inhale. And exhale with acceptance. Yes, and just feel the spaciousness that you've created. The spaciousness for the unknown, the spaciousness for the trust, the spaciousness for spirit to come in and let you know that it has your back, that you're being held. The spaciousness for the release, the spaciousness for grace. And I am wishing you a beautiful rest of week. You might already know where to find me, but if not, I am on Instagram at The Birth Warriors, all one word. And I am at hello@nataliefacey.com. And you can find all of these details in the show notes. Sending you love. Bye.